courtesies. I call the member for Holt.
Yeah. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I acknowledge the Ngunnawal and Ngambri peoples and the Bunurong people, the traditional custodians of the Canberra and Holt areas respectively. I pay respects to elders past and present and extend them to my Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander colleagues in this chamber and the other place. This government's commitment to implementing the Uluru Statement from the Heart in full demonstrates our emphasis on correcting our wrongs and rectifying injustice. The Prime Minister's determination to enshrine a voice to Parliament in our Constitution is a glowing example. This is because the Australian Labor Party believes in an Australia that is fair and just to everyone. An Australia that treats everyone equally, no matter how we look, where we are born, what language we speak at home, what our gender is, or how much we earn. Halt. The electorate I am proud to represent is diverse in its geography and demography, and in the people who have represented our community before me. I want to particularly acknowledge the contribution of the preceding member, Anthony Byrne. My electorate stretches from the scenic fishing village of Tooradin to the suburbs of Cranbourne, Clyde, Lynbrook, Hampton Park and Narrewarren South, which have supported new and aspirational Australians for decades. Deputy Speaker, I do not believe it is a coincidence that Holt and the Hindu festival of Holi only differ by one letter. Both symbolise people celebrating diversity and a shared belief in the oneness of all. However, while we celebrate Holi once a year, the diversity that characterises this colourful festival is observed in Holt every day. 6 in every 10 residents in my electorate are children of parents born overseas. 40% speak one among 161 languages other than English at home. Although it may take a little longer than this term to master each one, it is clear that when we walk down any street in Holt, we are bound to bump into people who speak a different language at home or trace their family's origin to a place unlike ours. Yet, what makes Holt and indeed Australia unique is that we Australians may differ in our past but are united in pursuing a shared future. Holt is among the youngest federal electorates in Victoria, as families choose the suburbs in my electorate to raise their children in a community that is safe, supportive and welcoming. Our community is a home for people who strive toward ensuring their children have a better life than they did, like my parents, Bernie and Humesh. Deputy Speaker, my life is built on the Australian values of migrating for a better future, giving everyone a fair go, and most importantly, supporting each other as one big family. After being high school sweethearts since the age of 13, Bernie Rodrigo and Humesh Fernando celebrated their most memorable day at St Mary's Church in the Colombo suburbs of Davyla 38 years ago. Thank you. They were blessed with 3 children. My elder sister Candice, who I'm sure is smiling down at me from heaven. Cassandra Juanita, undoubtedly the most mischievous out of the 3. And my younger brother Hamish, who is proud of this day as I am. My fond recollections of Davyla include my incredible, generous maternal grandparents Clifford and Emerald, whose warmth, love, humour and food assured contentment and happiness. To this day, I am still in awe of my parents' determination to achieve a better life for their children and the courage to act on it. The decision to uproot the lives of your family and move to a land across the ocean where people are different to you is daunting. It was a hard one for my parents and a harder one for Hamish and I. Nana and Papa were our best friends, our favourite teachers, and most enthusiastic playmates. Leaving the people who fulfilled any of these roles is difficult. Leaving those who fulfilled all of them is unthinkable. The memory of landing in Melbourne on a cold July evening in 1999 is permanently etched in my mind. Little did I know the difference in weather would, in fact, be the mildest shocks I would encounter in my new homeland. Knowing that we could always call this wonderful country home only encourages us to do better for it with each passing day. Australia has given my family and I a home, a community, and a purpose. There is no honour more profound than serving my fellow Australians. Deputy Speaker, when doubts were raised about the future of our country in the 1930s, Sir John Monash responded by saying, "The best hope for Australia is a ballot box and a good education." Australian democracy has weathered ups and downs due to our indisputable support of education for all. Universal education is a pillar upon which our society rests. It is the force that provides all Australians the opportunity to achieve their potential and contribute to our shared success as a nation. While education is everyone's right, I know too well that it is not something to be taken for granted. After a semester at St Gerard's Primary School in Dandenong North, my parents planned to continue my education at Lindale Secondary College in the same suburb. At the time, it was hard to make ends meet for the Fernandos, and keeping up with the cost of living, my education was difficult. Upon request from my parents, the assistant principal of Lindale at the time, Mr. Ian Mitchell, wrote to the Department of Education and successfully advocated for a fee waiver. I remain grateful for Mr. Mitchell's effort, and I cannot overstate the importance of my teachers in making me who I am today. A huge shout-out to Mandy Tessell, Richard Jappy, Krista Rainsford and Joseph Hall for all their years of support to the students of Lindale Secondary College. Even though studying can be exhausting at times, I always remember my mother's saying, "Material goods can be stolen, but knowledge cannot." That is something I have held on all my life, and it is my message to every young Australian. Today, I am in this chamber to be the voice for Australians who are having it tough, like I once did. I'm here to fight for those who cannot take for granted the things we do. I will never forget that my parents did not have to choose between keeping their daughter well-fed and educated, because in our country, we believe everyone, no matter their wealth, immigration status, or family background, must be supported to reach their full potential. I put my hand up to be a member of the House of Representatives to ensure we, as parliamentarians, will always look out for those less fortunate than ourselves. So one day, they will look out for those less fortunate than them. This is the Australian way. These are the values we cherish as Australians. Today is National TAFE Day, and there is no occasion more suitable to draw the attention to the importance of the Albanese Labor government's work in building our vocational education and training sector. My admission to William Angliss Institute for Certificate 4 in Patisserie and a Diploma in Hospitality Management continues to be among the most memorable moments of my life. Finishing this qualification gave me a career, a purpose, and a treasured hobby which I spend most weekends pursuing to this day. For decades, our thriving TAFE sector has given us the opportunity to gain experience and upskill ourselves. Addressing the sector's funding shortages will support Australia in meeting present and future demands in this rapidly changing world. My first memory of Woolworths is when the Fernandos stayed in the Western Sydney suburb of Quakers Hill with my mother's best friend, Auntie Sujatha. She spoiled Hamish and I by paying a Woolies bill of $500 on the condition that we promised to study hard. Auntie Sujatha, I will never forget the joy you brought to us that day. Little did I think that the supermarket chain would have such a special connection with my life. For 15 years, since I was 15, I stacked shelves, baked pastries, and bag groceries at various Woolies stores across southeast suburbs of Melbourne. Those years as a Woolies employee also fostered my passion, ensuring essential workers are treated with care and dignity. My involvement in the union movement paralleled my involvement in retail. I became a member of the Shop Distributive and Allied Employees Association on my first day at Woolworths. At the time, my knowledge of the vast world beyond friends, family and community was limited to the occasional glances at the news and receiving the copy of the Shop Assistant every quarter. In mid-2007, the Shop Assistant focused on the consequences of the Howard government's disastrous industrial relations plan, work choices, on my job security. They emphasises the importance of understanding the impact my vote could have on families like mine. It is this period, I believe, that put me on the course that resulted in my election to the House of Representatives. Realising the impact of government policies on my ability to earn a fair day's pay for a fair day's work, I understood that being a union member alone was insufficient. I knew it was time to advocate for millions of Australians like me who spend many hours on the shop floors of supermarkets, fast food chains and warehouses. As years progressed, the time devoted to strengthening our labour movement increased. After serving as a delegate and a health and safety representative, it was time to dedicate myself to the union movement around the clock as a union organiser. Many on this side of the chamber will know that being a union organiser is an experience like no other. Over 5 years that followed, every day was different, every interaction was unique, between the long and irregular hours during which my office regularly shifted between my car and the tea rooms of the stores I visited. Knowing I made a small yet meaningful difference to my former colleagues was rewarding. This meant ensuring Sharon, a 70-year-old carer with poor eyesight, was afforded a roster that accommodated her caring responsibilities and health requirements, or supporting Lucy, a young lady with special needs, in her successful appeal to overturn a wrongful termination during the peak of COVID-19 pandemic. My time as an organiser had such an incredible impact on my life that I still catch myself referring to the people I represent as my members. Our workplace laws affect every Australian. I joined the Australian Labor Party because it is the party of the working people. Yeah. When jobs are at risk and wages decline, the nation looks to those in labour to fix a system failing to protect them from exploitation. Labor governments have been responsible for cleaning the mess left behind by those on the other side of this chamber. I am honoured to support a government that will continue this proud tradition of delivering a better future for every Australian worker. Deputy Speaker, my family's success as a family is not our own. We were fortunate to migrate to a country where community organisations are strong and supportive. My awareness of this fact dates back to my very first Christmas. In Australia, we encountered financial difficulties in our early years, and this meant my brother and I would have celebrated our first Christmas in Australia without any gifts. However, the Salvation Army stepped in where Santa Claus could not. Hamish and I were blessed to celebrate Boxing Day with a beautiful doll for me and a teddy bear for him. Holt abounds with examples where community has filled the gaps to ensure that no one falls through the cracks. Among the earliest of them is the founding of the Cranbourne Golf Club, which ensured that Melbourne's Jewish community could enjoy a game of golf free from discrimination faced at other venues. And of course, the past 2.5 years have presented us with the challenges that occur only once in a lifetime. I am proud of the diligent organisations in our community for helping address each one. This includes the role of welfare organisations like Community Information and Support Cranbourne, AIMS Australia, Southeast Community Links, in always keeping their door open for anyone in need. The work of religious organisations like St Agatha's Parish, Dharmadeepa Meditation Centre, BAPS, Nana Aksatat and Omar Farooq Mosque during the COVID-19 pandemic, the support of various Australian, Sri Lankan and Tamil organisations towards Sri Lanka during these times of need, and the assistance of the Afghan Australian Philanthropic Association, Bhakta Community Organisation and the Afghan women's organisations to those struggling with the Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan. My utmost respect is reserved for that indispensable pillar of our society that has protected and upheld the safety and dignity of every working Australian, the union movement. I want to particularly mention the union I have belonged to for all my adult life, the Shop, Distributive and Allied Employees Association. For over a century, the SDA has been a pioneer in delivering for vulnerable Australians, especially women, who constitute a majority of the union's membership. My deepest gratitude is to the SDA family in Victoria for all their support. Specifically, I want to thank the Victorian State Secretary, Michael Donovan. Michael, your decades of service to SDA members have been essential to protecting and advancing the pay and conditions of my former colleagues. On a personal note, you've always been there to ensure my sense of purpose is unwavering, and I am forever grateful for that. I also want to thank two champions of SDA Victoria who's here today. Assistant Secretary Mara Moretta for his wise counsel and dedication. State President Julie Davis for continuously supporting my participation in the union movement since my first day at Woolworths Dandenong Plaza. I extend my gratitude to Radha Nair, Manny Zuros and Alexander Velinovsky for not only being my best friends, but thank you for always supporting me and encouraging me to believe in myself. To Dean D'Angelo for checking up on me every day and being with me from my first door knock to my swearing in. To Michael Galea, Kimi Singh, Emma Matu and every staff member at SDA, and of course my federal colleagues, Senator Raphael Ciccone and Dr. Molino for teaching me the ropes and making sure I no longer get lost on my way to Aussies. Today, I also want to remember my dearest friend Daryl, who I miss very deeply. Daryl, I know you are watching from above, and I hope I have made you proud. I have learned so much from my involvement in the union movement, and I do not think I can express my gratitude enough for the people who have supported me along this journey. I want to thank all local ALP members and campaign volunteers for standing beside me through rain, hail and sunshine, including Hannah Spanswick, the Barton family, the Jolie family, Dinesh, Jean-Marc, Josephine, Farim, Jeff, Margaret, Deborah, Annette, Ray, Wayne, Michael Cooney, Claire, Vernon, Auntie Ranjini, Vicky, Jaideepan, Ambi, Dilip, the Rahimi family, the Jan family, Ali, Hassan, Hussein, and my aunties and uncles, Auntie Prashanti, Brinley, Rochelle, Steve, Ansley, Nilanthi, Kaushi, Nayane, Deirdre, Kumar. A special shout out to Mike McNess, Mem Suleiman, John Berger from the Transport Workers Union, to Victorian Labour Assistant Secretary Cam Petrie, to my incredible campaign team, Dale Wilson, Hassan Erdogan, Emily Sagolj, Akshay Jose, Josh McFarlane and Trey Karunaratna. If not for the passion each of you brought to the campaign, Labor would not have the privilege to represent our community in this chamber. I was fortunate to receive the guidance of several state and federal colleagues without whom my campaign to be the member for Holt would not have been successful. In particular, my federal colleagues, Deputy Prime Minister Richard Miles, Tony Burke, Claire O'Neill, Andrew Giles and Julian Hill. My state colleagues, Pauline Richards, Gary Mars, Jordan Krugnali, Enver Erdwan and Lee Talamas. Last but not least, I would like to commend my excellent staff, Amo Chakravarthi, Hafiz Jan, Matthew Muselli and Jackie Dawson, for being the strong and dedicated pillars I have relied on since being pre-selected. There is never a dull moment when I'm with you all. I give my love to my family in Sri Lanka, Germany, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, the United States, and Switzerland for all your love. Many of us would know the best thing about having family all over the world is that you never have to worry about paying for a hotel. Finally, I thank my wonderful family, my father Humesh, my mother Bernadine, my brother Hamish, and my sister-in-law Christine, and my best friend Angel Deloraki, for all your love and support. You have encouraged me to do things outside of my comfort zone, and I am here today because of that. I support this government because I am a proud Australian who is committed to protecting our values of fairness, equality, and a fair go for all. I want to conclude by quoting my favourite verse from the Bible, chapter 7, verse 7 in the Gospel of Matthew. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened to you. My message to everyone is simple. 2 decades ago, I was a little girl trying to figure out life in a new country and did not even dream of being here. I honestly pinched myself thinking that this is my life now. Australia's greatest strength is its ability to support every Australian in achieving the life we want. If we are determined and prepared to work hard for it, it is our responsibility as Australians to provide each other in the support to making it happen. I am grateful for the opportunity bestowed upon me. I will use this time in this place to inspire people of Holt to put their hands up to be the representatives of our community in every possible way. I thank the House.